Hello, how we all doing? Good to see you. Hey Mia, how are you? Hey Michelle, good to see you. We got Shane Houghton with us. The wonderful Shane Houghton. We got Billy. Hello, Greta. Good to see you. We got Brian doing a lovely little pose there in his profile photo. Hey Aaron. Hello, John. Good to see you. Just going to let a couple of people pile into through the waiting room. So I'll just give it a couple of seconds. I got Stephen with us. Hey, Stephen. Good to see Darren, Luke, Tony. How are you, Tony? Apologies, guys. If I keep looking down here while I'm talking to you, it's because the laptop and the computer are. I'm on a long day of calls today, so I'm on my standing up desk, so stuff gets a bit skewed. Good to see you all. So, look, on today's call, we've got two purposes, really. For the people that have just joined me as artists, we are on a 14-week journey together where our entire job is to get fully booked. And for some of you, you've either worked with me before and you're popping in to say hello, or you're a guest who's just joining to kind of get a view of the system. So for the people that are kicking off with me for the next 14 weeks, the goal of today is to get you an idea of the runway. So you know exactly from today right up until the end of our 14 weeks together, you know exactly what you're going to be doing each week. And you can see a clear runway to success. For the people that are just here for a day, I want to get you an understanding of what the full system looks like. We've been running this with a group of 85 students since June. And the first group on this fully booked program had insane results. Just last week, we had Castor and Pollux, a group from the States, played the #1 DJ mag club in the world, Echo Stage, and they had no gigs in January. Now they're playing every single week, earning between $700 to $1,500 a week. Now we've had loads of cases like that where people are locking down residencies, multiple residencies a week. The system works. And so for the people that are here for one day, I just want to give you a glimpse of what it is so you can piece it together yourself or decide if you want to come and work with us. That's completely up to you. I have nothing to sell you on this webinar if you're a guest. So put your wallets away, just sit back and relax. So for all of my calls, I like to start with wins. Into the chat, can I get 3 wins from each of you from the year so far? 2021 so far, 3 wins. They can be anything. We do this on every single call. And it's not just artist wins, because really all of the wins come from you as a human, you, the person. So give me 3 wins that are just from you, the person. It can be, yay, I signed this release, or I've had this booking, or it can just be, I got a new dog and he's amazing. Whatever your wins are, let me know your wins into the chat, please. We've got some newcomers into the group. How you doing? We're doing 3 wins into the chat, please. So what have we got? Hey, Aaron, how are you? Played in Ministry of Sound last week. Lovely, Luke. Who asked, so user, I don't know who user is, but user asked, where is everybody from? That's also a nice thing to drop in the chat if you want to let us know where everybody is from. Played at Egg London recently. What, Luke, you're having a good month, Ministry and Egg. Wins wise, I played Ministry and Egg. Nice, Marcus. 2 popular ones. Shane, you always have wins. The Shane train, is that still rolling? It's been a while since we spoke. Booked open for Sparrow and Barbarossa next week. Nice. 2 bookings at Belgium's biggest parties and booking for Tomorrowland this summer. Amazing. We did El Row in Belgium 2019, just before COVID kicked in. I was so impressed with how good it was. I hadn't spent much time there before, but I loved it. Billy's with us. Billy locked in 2 residencies local. He's got his monthly radio show and fitness goals are on point. I need to get on that game. Lying to myself and telling myself it's January. Shane, okay, we've done Shane. Signed record for Niall, 10K streams, headlining main room at Flash Club. We got loads of wins coming in. Miha signed 1 signing with Solid Grooves, 2 signed with Crosstown Rebels, and 3 collaborate. You're smashing it. Okay, amazing. We've got loads of, keep piling your wins into the chat. If you haven't piled your wins in already, I'm going to read over those afterwards. So now that you've kind of thought about your wins, what I want to know, and I'm not going to ask too many questions here. What I want to know is, we're talking about bookings today, and there are a million pieces to the bookings puzzle, and any one of them done wrong or right can assist you. But every artist knows really what they are missing. You know, generally you'll have an idea of what you need to sort. Some people are really good at networkers and put them in a room with anybody and they'll get a booking. Other people are just killer DJs and are just so confident that if they get booked, they'll get booked again. Other people maybe might be a little bit more introverted, but their productions are so good that they're sure if they go down that route and get proper signings, that's going to work for them. Other people just haven't got a clue what to post on socials and are really kind of invisible online. So what is it for you? If you had to say what your 3 biggest booking struggles are, what are they? Into the chat. I'm interested to see. These are always interesting. I think we'll see a lot of patterns in these. Not great at socials. That's a very common one. Very, very common. Not great at socials. Networking and marketing. Socials is one of the biggest struggles for DJs, and it shouldn't really be, because you're creative people. It's just that mostly you've been lied to. We're not going to cover socials too much here today. We are going to go over content, but mostly artists have been lied to and told that they need big followings and all that kind of stuff to get gigs. Or really you don't. You just need good socials. You need to be creative, and for the promoter to believe that you can help promote. You don't need a big following. Marco Carolla has a big following. You're an emerging artist. You're not expected to. I'm not sure how to ask. So common. We have scripts for that we're going to talk about later. Most DJs don't know that. Don't like promoting themselves. Does that sound familiar? Don't really know what to say to DJs or how to approach for gigs. If they get the yes, don't really know what to ask for, or how to ask even about money. Don't know where to start. Only one release. Lack of confidence to ask questions. So common. Communication and knowing what to say to local agents. Not knowing how to approach the right people. Of course, it's this, literally all of the DJs around you will have a similar worry. So you're at home there. So if that's the 3 things stopping you, if those are your 3 biggest hurdles, I think it's also important to zoom out and look at what are your 3 biggest strengths, because those are the 3 biggest hurdles are things that we need to try and fix, but the 3 biggest strengths are the reasons that you'll succeed. So let's play a little game for a minute and think about 5 years' time, and you've done the things that you want to do. You've actually succeeded. You're getting booked, your labels are flying, your releases are flying, whatever your goals are, you've hit them. Why was that? If you were to guess why you are going to succeed, what are the 3 strengths that you have that, if you had to guess, they'll be the reason I succeed? And I know if you are anything like every other batch of DJs out there, you're creatives, so you generally don't like promoting yourself, bragging about yourself, or you know, tooting your own trumpet too much. But you're gonna have to put that aside just for a minute and actually be real. What are the 3 strengths that you have as an artist? Into the chat, please. 3 reasons why, if you do succeed, why will it have been? And if you're struggling with this, feel free to let me know in the chat. Say, I'm struggling with this. Hardworking, production, very good DJ. Very good. Ability to talk and networking, which is huge in dance music because it's such a small scene and everything is connected globally. That is key. Passionate about the culture. Yeah, I'm proud of my music. All the right things. My sets are great. Creative with music. I feel my audience very good and worked really hard. Okay. Yeah. Networking, creativity, and song selection. Creativity is such an important word. Planning, organizing, and being consistent with content and socials. Do you know, out of all of the artists that I've trained, is usually the ones that do really well are the ones that are organized and good at planning and organizing, which is something that you don't really expect in the ones that succeed. You usually envision people drunk falling around in hotel rooms, but it's usually the people that are on the ball that sort of get the results. Creativity, technical DJ. I'm a people person, and my tune selection. Okay, cool. So these are more for you than me. These are questions that you should be asking yourself before you even consider anything like this. You need to realize, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And why are you doing the thing that you're doing? So I want to think about goals. Why are you in this? I want to look ahead to the 2nd of December, 2022. I nearly forgot what year it was then. The 2nd of December 2020 to me feels like 3 months ago. It doesn't feel that long ago. Like the year has flown, and there's no reason to believe that the next year won't do the same. And that 2nd of December next year will be, that's going to fly. So you can achieve a lot of stuff in a year, but I want us all to be realistic about what we can achieve. Let's look forward to the 2nd of December 2022. What are the 3 goals that you would really love to achieve in the next year that you think you can achieve? These should slightly scare you, but you think you can do them in a year. These are, and look, you're not locked to these. So just, what are your first 3 thoughts? What are 3 things you would love to have done in the next year? Play my first gig. Okay. Signed with a label, says Aaron. So you guys are at the very start. Play your first gig is going to be an easy one. I want to play abroad next to Belgium and the Netherlands. So you want to start to tour a little bit. Easier done than you would think. Signing with labels. I want a residency. Brian wants an EP out. He wants festival bookings, and you want a manager. A manager is not always a good thing at the early stages. It's the most common thing we get in chats. People want a manager or they want a booking agent because they think it's going to help. And more often than not, if you haven't got consistent bookings and you're not playing out a lot, it's a bad thing. Usually because you're not attracting the right kind of manager, because the only manager you're going to get, the good managers go with artists that are already booked, that are already playing, and that they know they can bring more value. Otherwise, you're just giving somebody 20% to not really add much value. I want to make my first record, okay? More consistent releases, play in a club setting, and more importantly, build rapport with people in the industry. Those are all good, well achievable. I just moved to London. I love to play my first gig here. Well doable. So doable. 3 gigs per month. Yeah, 100%. 3 gigs per month is 1 residency. Think about it. If you lock down 1 residency, you've automatically got 4 to 5 gigs a month. Some months have 4 weeks, some weeks have 5. So 1 residency would do that for you. So you're literally 1 yes away from that with the right club, somewhere that you want to play and that you would be a resident. Getting good templates sorted for socials and sat tracks. Hey, Gabriel, getting signed by a recognized record label and have at least 2 to 3 tracks. Okay, those are all well achievable in 12 months. Now, what I want you to do, just before we move on, is zoom out a little bit to 5 years. This time, 5 years, what are the goals? The 3 biggies. Like, what are 3 things that look like success? How do you know you'll have succeeded? What are the 3 things that you would love to have achieved long-term in this? For some people, it's, I want to quit my job and go full-time. I just would love to do this full-time. Or I want to have my own brand and I want it to have a residency in Ministry of Sound or something like this. It'll be different for everybody completely. Career out of music is one of the most common ones. Playing Ibiza, blow up some dance floors, getting better at production. Playing at festivals, 10 gigs a month, DJ full-time and run my own event. Yeah, that's well doable. Sean, who is here in the chats with us, he is a unique character. I use you sometimes, Sean, as when I'm in chats. You started your DJ career the day you started the program with me. Do you remember in 2018? And I think you were playing about, what, 10, 15, 20 gigs a month within a week or 2 or a month or 2. You were quick off the nail. So you can definitely speak to people on how doable it is if you have the right attitude, which you certainly did. Constant flow of bookings around the world, DJ full time and host my own event. Okay, so we've got a similar pattern breaking out there. So if you could only achieve one thing in 2022, the big thing, what would that be? We've looked at a couple of things there now. Let's kind of squeeze it down. What's the main focus really? As a DJ, as an artist, what have you got most in the headlights? Into the chat. The number one thing, if you could only pick one thing, play in Ibiza. A festival book. Now, what I want to do is, and you don't even need to put this in the chat, but when you're dropping that into the chat, I want you to think a little bit deeper into that. So when you say play in Ibiza, like I could book you for an Irish bar on the West End, and that technically is playing Ibiza. So be it as specific as you can. Is there a certain 1, 2, 3 places that you want to play? And laser focus on those. Same with the festival. I could book you for my mother's country and western event here in Ireland and get you to, or I could book you for my sister's wedding. That wouldn't be a festival, but you know what I mean? So what festivals? Have that in your head. You don't need to drop it in the chat, but you need a specific, clear vision. Booking EDC Orlando is one of my big stages. One of the big stages. Okay. Playing Ibiza in Amnesia or DC-10. Okay. We've had lots of guys do that. Only one DC-10, but lots of Amnesia. Main focus. Play a gig, speak to Rossi and Casey Spillman. Okay. Burning Man. There we go. Play in High Ibiza 2022. 24 of my acts played High in Ibiza in 2019. So, and they didn't think it was possible that year, and it was. So that was what Slido, Camel Fat, and Fisher. So it is doable. You can do it. It'll take work. Awakenings booked at Music On. Okay, good. So we've got some focus on exactly what we want there. Now, what I'm going to do is, how many have we got on the call? 29. I'm going to stick. Community is one of the number one things that I do on my call each week. Like, learning is one thing, execution is another, but the community around you is such a strong element. Sharing ideas, hearing others' ideas, understanding that the struggles that you have, you're not alone. You're all kind of going through similar things, and getting feedback from other artists is super, super important. The groups that we run, so much of the value comes from collaboration and people joining up and putting events on together within the groups. And so what I do each call is a breakout room. I'm going to stick you into breakout rooms now of 6 people each. And what I want you to do is focus on your 3 goals for the next 12 months. What are your 3 goals that we discussed for the next 12 months? When you get into the breakout room, you're going to be in there for 15 minutes. I want you to do it in alphabetical order. So if there's an Alfred in there, you'll go first. If there's a Zoe in there, you'll go last. And start in alphabetical order. Give us your 3 goals for 2022. Go around in a circle. And then what I want you to do is we mastermind it out. So if you have done one of the other person's goals, if you've achieved it or you've tried it or you have some feedback, share that advice. And you as a group together will kind of mastermind it out for 15 minutes. The idea is when you come out of the breakout, first off, you've shared your goals for 2022. So you're kind of committed. On an emotional level, you've committed. Also, you've shared it to a group of people and nobody's flinched. They all want the same things. And so you're kind of vindicated, and you leave the room kind of more confident with a stronger belief that these things can be achieved. So does everybody understand what we're doing? Give me a yes in the chat if you understand how the breakout is going to work. Hey, Jordan, hope you're keeping well. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we got lots of yeses. We're just about to jump into breakout rooms. I'm going to stick you in a breakout room. While you're jumping into the breakout room, I want you to think of 3 goals for 2022. You're going to need them in a minute, okay? Okay. Hopping into the breakout rooms. We got 28 on the call, so I'm going to open up 5, put you in groups of about 6. Okay. Into the breakout rooms for 15 minutes. 3, 2, 1. In you go. Yeah, room 1 open. Room 2 open. Room 3. Hey, Michelle, welcome back. Hey, Stephen. Hey, Billy. Breakout rooms close in 41 seconds. So the rest of the group will be with us soon. How are you doing, Billy?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Yeah, all good. Obviously, yeah, just looking forward to finally starting it because obviously got booked up with you ages ago, but obviously just everything going on, my head just went in the game. So now
Of course.
I've got obviously full focus on everything now. So yeah, I'm really, really good. Oh, and then obviously seeing the group as well, obviously performing so well, in obviously all aspects and that as well, which just obviously made me want to jump on the bandwagon even more. So
yeah, they've been smashing it. The results have been unreal.
amazing.
And you're coming into it in a good time, really, because January is booking season. It's when all of the festivals have kind of got their big headliners booked, and then they're looking at sort of taking care of all of the rest of the acts. So like we've got a month of kind of prep, and then in January it's just perfect time to be kicking it all off.
Love that.
So we got everybody back from the breakout rooms. Can I just ask into the chat, what was the most useful thing from that breakout? What was interesting? What did you learn? What did you take out of it?
I met a few cool people. Hey, Mikey, by the way. Met a few cool people.
Who am I speaking to?
I'm Tom, Hoopla.
Hey, Tom, how are you? Can I get you to stick it into the chat, Tom? Just because we've got a short call and we got lots of people on the call.
Yeah, brother, no worries.
Legend. Good to see you, dude. Hope Barcelona's going well. Haven't seen you in a while. So what have we got? Finding out that one of the guys does graphic design. Great. Robin graphic designs in the job. Yeah. So this is what comes out a lot from the breakouts. Everybody has the same struggles. It's that thing, being an artist, being a DJ, trying to do something and have a career. It can quite often feel like a lonely road, you know, where it's just you against everything. And seeing groups of artists that have pretty much the same struggles as you always helps. One of the main reasons I do the breakouts, and I do them every single week, is because I find anytime you get a group of DJs and put them together and just have them talking about their goals, shit happens. They go off and start collectives together, or start running nights together, or do a label, or start producing together 100% of the time. Now, not everybody does, but if you put groups of people together, you will get these splinter projects. Connecting with Shane on socials, meeting some cool people and discussing production and networking, meet interesting people of the same passion, shared experiences. Yes. Okay. 100%. Right. Let's hop into the training then. So before we do, actually, can I get everybody into the chat? Today, we're going to look at bookings. First off, what do your bookings currently look like? If you had to rate your bookings health, let's give it a health meter. From 0 to 100, 0 being I don't have any gigs, and 100 being I'm fully booked, and 50% being I've got some, but I would like more. Where are we all? 0, 0, 0, 2 to 3 gigs a week. Nice. Shane is at 100. You've been at 100 for a while, dude. 20, 50, many zeros, all of the zeros, lots of zeros, just no other numbers, right? Okay, cool. That's a good to know as a flatlining. We'll get you there. Don't worry. So, right, that's where you are now. But let's look at what is fully booked for you. Before we kick into the training, it's important to understand some people that just are gung-ho, don't have any kids, don't have a day job, don't just want to DJ every single night. They want to DJ 6 nights a week, 7 if they can, 8 if they can get a gig during the day, one of those nights. Some people just want to DJ all the time. I find the majority of people are comfortable with maybe 2 gigs a week, 3 if they're really going for it. But then there's other people that just want to play 1 big gig a month, just 1 big festival gig, or one that matters, and they don't want to fuck around with anything else. Fully booked is different for everybody else. What is fully booked for you? Is it 1 gig a week, 2 gigs a week, 1 gig a month, 4 gigs a week? What is fully booked? What do you want? 2 to 3 gigs a week, 4 a week, 4 times a month or more, 2 gigs a week. Yeah, that's achievable, isn't it? Without burning you out. Darren, 1 gig a month would be great. Wow, that's going to be an easy one to do. 10 gigs a month. Okay, so that's 2 residencies and 2 extra gigs a month. 3 gigs a week. Okay, yeah, these are that's perfect. It's good for you to know because you want to know where you're aiming. Okay, perfect. Let's hop into it. So the 7 steps to getting fully booked. The very first one, we've got 3 main content blocks. There were 3 months that we run through, and the first month is all about content. Now, that may seem boring in a process where you're wanting to reach out to promoters and lock down gigs. But here's the thing. If you reach out to promoters and festivals and you haven't got your shop front right, then nothing else is going to work. So the first thing you want to do before you sort out any bookings is get your output looking right. Get your shop front looking right. Think of it like if you're walking down the street and you see an awful looking restaurant with the worst sign ever, and it's just filthy. The chef inside could be the best chef in the world, making the most amazing food. You'll never know because you'll never go in. You'll judge a book by its cover. And the people that you're reaching out to, locally, nationally, and internationally, that don't know you, that check you out, they'll do the same. The only thing they have to judge you is your content. That's why followers doesn't matter. Fuck followers. You just want to show them who you are as an artist. Can I ask into the chat, if I asked one of your friends, one of your close friends, who you are as an artist, like what do you like? What are you passionate about? How do you perform? What kind of energy do you have? Like, give me your quirks. Give me what makes you. You know, there's only a couple of people that really know the real you. Could one of your friends explain to me, yes or no, into the chat, what kind of artist you are? Yes, yes, yes. Usually lots of yeses. Yeah. Aaron says no. But mostly yeses. Okay, now, can I ask, if I am here I'm in Birmingham in the UK today, right? And let's say I've never met you, but somehow your username just drops on my table. And I go onto Instagram and I search your Instagram or your Facebook, or I click into your Mixcloud or your SoundCloud or hop onto your Spotify playlist or whatever it may be that you've put out there. Am I able to get that same sense of you that your friend would give me? Am I able to understand who you are as an artist? What's your vibe? What's your energy? What are you about? What are you passionate about? Your socials 100% share that. If everybody's socials 100% shares that, I would be very, very surprised. Does everybody think their socials 100% showcase? I would be able to tell who you are absolutely as a person. You tell your story really, really well. Your content lets me know all of the things you're passionate about. It's engaging. Okay, nice. We've got a good bunch in here. Normally with artists, and I haven't seen most people's social media. Normally with artists, socials are one of their big struggles, and they don't have the content 100% nailed straight away. But it's super important that we get that right first. And that's the first thing we do. You won't need lots of followers. You'll just need really creative content. And that's super easy to do. There's a system. And we'll spend the first month getting that right. If you're not with me on the journey, all you need to know is that you need to get that right first. Don't need lots of followers. You just need interesting content. We'll run through that in a minute. Second block of what we're going to do is all about relationships. Can I ask, 0 to 100, how are your relationships with bookers and promoters and festivals? Do you have lots and lots of them, or do you not really know that many? 0 to 100. Is it too late to join the training? No, not at all. Today's just the onboarding call. We actually kick off properly with the first week of training next week. Today, we run over the whole system. For anybody that wants to hop on board, still plenty of time. Locally, 100%. Yeah, so this is the thing we see quite often, that locally people have it locked down. If you're in the scene, you'll know most of the local promoters, but we're looking at the 5-year thing here. We want to, who are the people that you want to play for locally, nationally, and internationally? And we want to build relationships with those people, because relationships are what gets bookings. Like, that's just the way it is. Now, I'm going to take it as a given that you have the DJ thing down, you have the music side down. But can I ask, what do you think? this is the analogy I use is if you had 100 friends tomorrow that all ran club nights and festivals that were exactly for your sound, perfect for your sound, do you think you'd ever be stuck for a booking again? Into the chat. You've 100 friends and they all run festivals, clubs, and parties playing your sound. Would you be stuck for a booking? No, you would never be stuck for a booking again. Absolutely not. Would anything have changed on a music level? No. It's all about relationships. The more relationships that we can build, that's gigs on repeat. You only need a couple of relationships with the right festivals and the right clubs to be playing on a repeat basis, weekly and monthly, over and over and over again. You only need a few. And so we're going to work really hard on building connections and making sure they sustain and they last. And more importantly, those connections want to be connected with you. You're not pestering them and trying to get a gig. We'll run through that in a minute. And then the third month, we're going to start locking in the bookings. Month 3 is bookings, bookings, bookings. Month 3, at the end of month 3, you should be leaving the program with bookings. Anybody that doesn't, I'll book you myself. Literally, that's the goal here. This isn't a course. You're not here to get smarter. You're here to get booked. Okay. So I searched. I didn't have to search too long. Elon Musk in a recording studio. What a perfect image for that. It just doesn't seem right. So you're going to have to bring some hustle. You don't have a manager. You don't have a booking agent. You are going to have a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit about it. You're going to have to dedicate some time each week to reaching out to promoters, reaching out to festivals and building those relationships. I make it really easy in the program that we're about to do. You don't want to spend forever at this. I have a rule with my artists that we do 3 by 3. So it's 3 things we do every single week. And so reach out to 3 new promoters and break the ice. Follow up with 3 promoters that you've already reached out to and put out 3 solid story posts. And that's it. That takes you literally, because you've got a system, that takes you 5 minutes. For the social posts, maybe a little longer, 15 all in a week. And if you do that every single week, you're going to get results. And that's why consistency is the number 4 thing. Number 4, it's been a long day. I had the Australia call this morning. We did this call at 7 p.m. Australia time, which was 8 a.m. this time. So it's been a long day. I'm losing the power in my lips. Consistency is key. Can I ask in the chat, who's reached out to a couple of promoters and maybe got ghosted or got no's or whatever, and then just kind of didn't do it again for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, or just kind of stopped for a while, did it in a burst, didn't get the results, and then kind of ran away with your tail burned? Yeah, we've got lots of yeses. That's and that's natural. But here's the thing. I mean, like the gym, if you went to the gym once a month and did a workout, would you ever get results? No, you wouldn't. And DJing is the exact same. Like what we're going to run through over the next 14 weeks, it's not magic. It's just a system that makes complete sense and is completely obvious. And if you just do it on repeat, you'll get results. And so we need you to be consistent with it. Community is the next one. It's everything that you do should be based around community. Like as an artist, if you have a community around you supporting you, it's going to be 10 times easier. Think of it like a football team. A football player is kind of like a DJ in the sense that they're about themselves. They're about their career. They want to score. They want to be man or woman of the match. They want to shine. You know, they've got their own path that they're trying to furrow. But if they never met up with any other football players, they would never win a match. You know, they've got to have a team around you. And even as a solo artist, you've still got to interact with the community. We do that in the program over the next couple of weeks, where we try and match you up with the people in the program and the people in the community around you to try and spur little projects, collectives, get you together to host nights and that kind of stuff. But community is going to be one of the big things, and you really need to lean into that. And then finally, practice. You're not going to be good at it the first time. Anybody here remember when they first tried to learn to beat match? Did it take, how long did it take you? When I was 12, I got two belt drive turntables. And for the first 2 months that I had this is embarrassing to say, for the first 2 months that I had the turntables, I thought that you had to have both pitch faders at the same number. So you put one deck to 0 and you put the other deck to 0, and they were at the exact same speed. And I thought that was mixing. And I did that for 2 months. And the shop that I bought them off actually got a phone call off 12-year-old me giving out that the decks were broken because I had one at number 3 and the other at number 3, but one record was faster than the other. So I would love to get a recording of that phone call. But with practice, I got better. And this is going to be the exact same. The first time you try this, the first time you reach out and you're in talks with promoters or you're doing any of the stuff that we do here, sometimes it'll work really quickly and you'll have quick wins, but other times it's going to take a while, you know, and you're going to need to stick with it and be consistent, and you'll get results on the second time or the third time or the fourth time. So it'll come with practice. I include this because a lot of people try things once and then walk away, DJs especially. So practice is going to be super important. And then finally, we need to keep in our head, I gave up after 5 minutes. We need to keep in our head that this is all about results, right? Has anybody in here ever done a course before and they didn't log in or didn't do the training, or maybe did it a little bit, but didn't really execute? Let me know in the chat, yes or no. Have you ever bought a course and not really got results? Either not really enjoyed the training or not really even done the training. I know I have. I bought loads of cheap little courses that I've never even logged into and I've forgotten about. This isn't what we want to do. Like, I don't care if you get smarter. A course is about getting you smarter. I don't care about that. We care about results. Yes, we get you smarter with strategies, but it's more about getting you results, whatever way we can do it. So that's about getting on live calls each week and hashing out exactly what you're at, trying stuff, getting feedback and trying again. And if we have to rig the game, which we do with certain strategies that we have to try and help you along the way, so be it. But you need to bear in mind, it's about results. If you end the 14-week program and you've got no bookings, well, it was complete and utter waste of time. It doesn't matter how many strategies that you know. If you end the program and really you only did executed on half the stuff, but you've got loads of bookings, it was a success. So that is the overall run through of what we need to look at. Now, here's how it looks. Can I ask, actually, which of those do you think you have nailed already? Every one of you will have one of those nailed where you're looking at it and you're going, that won't be a problem for me. Let me know in the chat. Which one have you got nailed? Some people just will have the consistency completely nailed. Other people, some of you said you're 100% at socials for storytelling. Some of you will be great with connections. Let me know in the chat. Networking. Think I could nail the hustle. Hustle, says Billy. Yeah, I would agree with you on that, Billy. Where's everybody else at? Wakey, wakey. SoundCloud content nailed. I have nothing nailed. Okay, well, that's fine. It's good to know that. What's it say in Alcoholics Anonymous? It's the first step is, what's the first step in Alcoholics Anonymous? Can anybody remember? I think, is it acceptance? That could be step 3. Promoting with graphic design. I'm a very social person. Okay, perfect. All right, so look, here's how this looks. We've got, and some of you that have been getting the onboarding videos will have had a sneak peek into this, but we need to go a little bit deeper on it. So when I said the first month, we're going to look at content, what are we specifically going to look at? Because there's a lot of things that we can do when it comes to content. We want to make it nice and easy for you. And we want our socials to absolutely smash it. Not just our socials, but if you do YouTube, if you do SoundCloud, if you do Mixcloud, it all depends. So the very first thing that we're going to look at in week 1 is the easiest low-hanging fruit to turn your socials into really engaging, really entertaining socials. And it's the story modules. So we're going to teach you how to tell your story properly. I have some worksheets that I'm going to run you through that will help you plan your socials in about 20 minutes for a month. Story kills it for everything like this. Everything that humans pay attention to is a story. The best ads are stories. You'll sit in front of Netflix for 8 hours straight and not move because it's a story. The things that hook you in and keep you, the best albums are stories. And so if you can make your socials a story and tell your story really well, you will hook fans in and you will keep people locked, and you'll get engagement like you have not seen before. Traditionally, when we implement just this one worksheet, the DJs see an immediate jump in engagement, like week one. The good news is you are a walking library. That's all you're doing is collecting stories. We just have to give you a way to pull them out of your head, get them onto paper and share them really, really easily. I'm going to ask people to traffic light this. So if we were to use a traffic light system, your current socials, how well are you telling your artist's story right now? Are you green light? Are you a red light? Green being great, red light being not at all? Or are you amber? Are you somewhere in the middle? Amber, we got amber. Lots of ambers. One red, mostly amber. So people are giving it a go. Jan's green. We got some greens, which is great to see. Okay, but we're mostly amber. I'm going to go with whatever we are. Pop it up for mostly. We got mostly amber on that one. Okay. This will kind of help you identify where you really need to drill down as we walk through this process. The next thing we're looking at is the curator. Who in the chat, let me know, has ever thought, I don't know what to post on socials? I don't know. Michelle says we're in lockdown. We don't have lots to tell. That's you do though. You haven't always been in lockdown. All of your stories aren't happening right now. All of your stories have happened since you were born. I mean, I bet you could probably pull any track out of a playlist and tell me a story about where you first heard it or where you first experienced it, or like you've got so many stories inside of you, and they're not all based in lockdown. And even in lockdown, you still will have stories. Okay, so yeah, we've had people that don't know how to post or don't want to post just for the sake of it or aren't sure. We get that all the time. That's why we do the curator, because you're a DJ. You literally are a curator. That is your role. You find amazing bits of music from around the world, new labels, new artists, new tracks, and you present them in mixes and share them. You're a curator. And so you really need to lean on this in your socials. You can share all of this great music packaged up in so many different ways. For instance, like one of the examples that we use is with some of the people in the program. They have shows on my radio station, on Beat the Club News or Beat the Club Radio. And when they do a mix and they put the mix out, we'll get them to do a track list story, which is basically like, let's say there's 10 tracks in the mix. For each one of the tracks, they'll do a story. So the mix goes up, it's on Mixcloud, and they'll do a story. 10 stories, and each story is the first track of the mix, second track of the mix, third track in the mix. And so people can flick through the story on Instagram and get kind of a preview of what tracks are on the mix. Now, what you do is you tag the artist that made the track, you tag the label that released the track in each of the stories. And what the artists, what's happening is for free, you have guys who've never played a gig in some cases that are getting their tracks shared by some of the biggest artists in the world. Because what happens is this artist gets a DM from Instagram saying, this person has tagged you, would you like to share? All they have to do is hit a button to share it on their own socials. Last week alone, we had people sharing their Beat the Club News radio show, and they had Scream sharing their mix onto his Instagram. Rudimental. Literally the biggest artists in the world have all been sharing their mixes onto their Instagrams, and it feeds back to your Mixcloud because you're promoting your mix. And the credibility that it gives you to have all these big acts sharing your mix, is unreal. You save it in a highlights reel. It looks so good. It's free advertising and it works like hell. We had one guy, Joseph Jones, who did it about 2 weeks ago, and he did it with 10 artists, and 5 of the artists on his mix shared it onto their stories, which is nuts. We had another girl who did it every month, and off recordings were featured on a lot of her mixes. They reached out to her. She didn't even reach out to them. They said, love what you're doing. Thanks for tagging us in it. We love your music. And they signed it. They signed a track just from doing that. That's one small snippet of how to be a curator. It's using all of you have all this great music that you want to share, and it's repurposing that into social media content that lets your fans know who you are as an artist, but also really levels you up. And it's so easy to do. You've already made the mix. It'll take you 60 seconds to do the story. So we're going to drive deep on that in week 2 and look at how we can get you as the curator. People loving that idea. Yeah, try that. I implore you, even if you're not doing the program, try that this week. And if you have 10 artists in the mix, one will share, minimum one will share onto their stories. So then week 3, what are we doing in week 3? The entertainer. It's my favorite week. Entertainer. I always forget, for some reason, how to spell when I'm doing these live presentations. Public spelling just throws me off completely. So that does say entertainer, trust me. So every DJ is an entertainer, whether they realize it or not. You're in the entertainment business. You're entertaining people with your music. Even the Richie Haughtons of the world who are standing there in black t-shirts, never smiling, they're entertainers too. It's a weird word to use for DJing. Can I ask, would you consider you're an entertainer? Have you ever thought of it like that before? Yes or no? Yes. Yes. Good. 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 No. Okay. So let me ask you a question. Is there anything that you've done in the last year or 2, or however long you want to use, that I could look at on your socials or that you've put out into the world that you could say was really entertaining? You're not allowed to use a mix because there's 1,000,001 mixes in the world. Yes. Can you give me some examples into the chat? What's the really entertaining thing that you've done? I mean, something that completely stands out. Something that's unusual. Something that nobody else is doing. Let me know in the chat. What are they? Being at a gig, content on stories. Yes, but that's something that everybody's doing. Reels, video clip for a tune. Yeah, that's decent. Anybody done any interesting live streams? Have we, let's say, does anybody know your man Swat, S-U-A-T? Wife dancing in the background of my Twitch video. Yes, Matt, that counts. But that counts for your wife. She gets the brownie points there, not you. John Digweed supported our label and our music. Yes, that's good, but is that interesting to one of your fans? That's interesting for you, but is it something that your fans would talk about and get excited about? Live stream. My Spider-Man suit was legendary here in Belgium. Yes, that's good. That's interesting. That's different. I did a live stream while I was making pancakes. That's unique. That's different. So quite often when we talk about these things, they might feel gimmicky. It doesn't have to be gimmicky. All it has to be is something unique, something that I can tie to you. I use your man Swat as the example just there. If nobody knows who he is, he was the guy that he started out going to like KFC and McDonald's and places like that with his decks and doing sets live from McDonald's. And then during lockdown, he strapped the gear to himself and sort of walked around. We went to Wimbledon, went to the forest and did live sets. And he wasn't anybody that had any connections or any following, but he blew up, you know, and he had big artists coming down and playing with him, and he grew a massive following, and now he plays great gigs. And all he did was he did something really entertaining. That was different. Nobody had done that before. People loved it. And you don't have to do that. That's already done. But what's right for you? What can you do that you can say is, that's a project I did last year that is really interesting? And so that's what we look at in week 3. It's it's really, it's like an art project for you. It's what's the interesting thing you as an artist can do that you can put out in the world and be proud of, and then people can sit up and go, oh, that's different. I haven't seen that before. That's cool. So that is what we do in week 3. And then I'm running out of space here. Week 4 is a boring but useful week where we build the system, because what happens is I show you how to tell great stories in your socials and get that locked out. We show you how to do all the curator stuff and do the entertainer stuff. But if you haven't got a system to make sure it repeats and it happens over and over again, then none of it gets done. Maybe you do it the first month, live stream on toilet as DJ shit. Work away, try that. If you don't have a system, you'll do it the first month. Maybe you'll forget about the second month, and by month 3, it's completely gone. So we want a system that you can do this every month really quickly. You don't want to be spending days prepping all this stuff. You want it to be very light, the least amount of time possible. And if I build it for you like that, and you're spending minutes, not hours on this stuff, you get results because you get it done. Can I ask, at the minute, how many hours a month are you spending on creating content? For some, it'll be none. I don't mean on socials, screaming and scrolling in the newsfeed. How many hours a month would you say you spend actually creating content? And be completely true here. There's no weeks, very little weeks. Shane doesn't sleep. Very little. 5 hours. So about an hour a week. Where's everybody else at? I have no idea. 30 hours, I guess. Wow, that's a lot. 6, little. Okay, cool. And we want to keep it not a lot. You don't want to spend your life creating social content and all this kind of content. You don't want it to become a job. Your job is a DJ, an artist. Your job is not a social media marketing agent. So we want to make it really easy to do and really easy to repeat. Okay, so once we've got that locked down, month 2, we're going to hop into the connections part. And this is really where all the magic happens. We look at bookings in month 3, but really the bookings start to roll in month 2, because we start building the connections, and it can't help it. The bookings happen. So the way we're looking at it is we got 4 sections again. The first one, we look at building a hit list. This is literally not to oversell it, but this is the magic tool that gets people booked. Can I ask into the chat, do you know, can I ask what genre everybody is? Give me your genre into the chat really quickly. House, techno, house and D&B, techno, melodic techno. Okay, tech house. Let's say melodic techno. Okay, if you're melodic techno and you're based I'm in Birmingham right now in the UK. Okay, so we'll use that. If I was a melodic techno DJ based in Birmingham, would I know what are all the melodic techno nights happening in Birmingham, happening in the surrounding areas, but also London, Bristol, Manchester, Liverpool, Glasgow, over in Ireland, over in Belgium, Barcelona, Ibiza, over in the States? Do I know all of these parties? Have I got them on a list? Do I know the people who run them? Have I got those people on my socials? Let's drill it down to the very start. Do I know all of the parties? Probably not. Can I ask for you, for your genre, would you know all of the parties in the surrounding cities, the surrounding countries? Usually the answer is no. And there's nothing to be, usually the answer just is no. For the people who are saying no, had you realized it was no? Had you even thought about that? That all of the parties that are your exact genre that you need to be playing, you don't even know what they are? Because if you don't know what they are, they certainly don't know about you. And how is this relationship ever going to happen? How is the booking ever going to happen if neither of you know about each other? One of you is going to have to find about the other one and reach out and start the relationship. And that's going to have to be you. So with the hit list, it's based on the Dream 100 strategy, which it's an old marketing strategy that says, rather than trying to appeal to the whole world, because that's going to be hard, what you want to do is find a list of 100 ideal prospects. And you just need to build relationships with those people, nurture those people, get those people into your world. And If you just target those 100 people, that's a career. You've got a career right there. And the same is true for dance music with festivals. There's probably, I do 50 with my artists. I get them to add 3 a week. But if you have 50 promoters that you know that you want to play for in the next 5 years, that's a really nice list that you can start nurturing. And what we do is we get you to reach out to them all now, start building relationships with them all now in a way that suits them as well. And add the small people, but also add the big people. Like when I mentioned earlier on Castor and Pollux, when we spoke in January, they'd never played, they weren't touring at all. They just played the DJ Mag #1 club. Now they're an EDM act, but so the DJ Mag #1 club, they played in front of 3,000 people before the headliner, and then they closed again after the headliner and got paid in excess of $2,000. And they're booked again for next year. Now, they did that because they put that club on their hit list and they nurtured them. It took 17 emails over and back over 4 months, but they got the gig and now they're booked again for next year. They can leverage that to get so many other great gigs. And so that's the importance of working out, who do I want to play over the next 5 years, and beginning to nurture them. So yeah, week 1 of the second month, we look at hit list. And then in week 2, we actually build it. It's really easy to do. Can I ask into the chat, is one of your main problems you just don't know who to approach? I think that's always one of the biggest problems. You don't know who to approach. If you have your list of 50 people that are perfect to play for you, and we do the research, which is really easy, I'm going to show you a strategy where you'll literally find out the person who runs the party and you'll get their email, their personal email in 2 minutes. And then you have it. You have that. You have the 50 people that you need to be speaking to. You have their email. All you need is a way to reach out to them. Don't know who and how. Yes, exactly. Who and how. That's all you need to know. And so this first part, that's the who. The next part is the how. So first off, we want to, let me get rid of that. The next section, we're going to look at how to be partners. Everything I do is about partnership mentality. Can I ask, have you ever felt like when you're reaching out to a promoter that you're just annoying them? You're just, or you feel like nearly like you're asking them for a favor by booking you. You know, please book me. You know, you want something from them. It doesn't feel like you're offering something, although you have your worth, but it feels like you're asking for a favor. You're asking to be let on the pitch. And like the way that plays out is like, if you are, there's you, I'll give you headphones so you know it's you. There's you and there's a promoter. If you're approaching a promoter and you're asking for a gig in that way, that's a one-way relationship. That goes one way. You want something from him and you've not really got anything to offer aside from the fact that you'll come and do the DJ set. Promoters can sense that. Like when you approach a promoter and has anybody ever had that where you've approached somebody that you really wanted to play and sort of shook your hand and maybe they didn't have much time for you, they were polite and kind of that was it. Promoters can sense that, but promoters are business people. They're always looking for opportunities. If you bring them an opportunity on a business level, they'll be open to it. There's just a slight variation you have to make in your pitch. That's all. And so if you approach them in a partnership way, with a partnership mentality, now the relationship becomes two-way. So you've got something for them, they've got something for you, and they see it as a bonus dealing with you. Now, there's loads of ways of doing this, and it's actually really, really easy. You just have to have something to offer. And you already have lots of things to offer that you're not even realizing and not even utilizing. Once you have something to offer them and you bring them, rather than asking for a set or please could I play, you're bringing an opportunity to them, and you'll have this changes the game overnight for you when you approach them correctly. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get proximity. Tony Robbins says, Tony Robbins is a cheesy one to bring up, but if you don't like Tony Robbins, you just probably haven't listened to Tony Robbins. I love a bit of Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins says proximity is power. So if you want to do something, or if you want to achieve something, if you can get close to it, just get close to the thing. Proximity brings power. Just being close to it and in its world brings opportunities. And that is so true when it comes to bookings. And if you're trying to get a booking with a complete stranger versus trying to get a booking with somebody that you're already in their world and you're dealing with or you've spoken to, it's night and day, the difference. It completely changes the game. And so what we're going to try and do is we're going to take our hit list and we're going to try and get you in their world. Just get you in their world, get you dealing with them, get proximity. Like the most basic version of proximity would be just to get in their socials, get them on Facebook, get them on Instagram, get them on Twitter, comment, like, engage, give it love, give it shares. That's the 1 second answer. But there's a lot more you can do to get in there and actually get dealing with them and working with them. So you're over and back and they see you as an asset. So that when you ask for the booking, it comes 10 times easier because you're not a stranger. You're somebody that they're already working with and they have reciprocity with you. They have a relationship and a bond. So that's what we're going to do. We've got our who, and then we've got our how. We bring them something that they want and we get dealing with them so that when we offer it, it's so much easier to get a yes. So the next, which one of those strikes true? Which one of those jumps out at you as the one that would change your game most? Is it having a hit list, or is it having something to offer the promoter that they actually wanted, or is it both? Yeah, both. One alone is good, but the two together is what kills it. And that's the whole thing. Now you've got your content set up, and when they check you out, they're going to be able to go, okay, I get it. This person is artistic, is creative. This person, I get what they're about. They've approached me in the right way, and they have actually something that I like to offer. And here's this amazing thing that happens. No DJs are approaching promoters in the right way. They're doing that DM thing where they ask for a gig on the first message. Has anybody ever asked for a gig on the first message in the DMs? I get this all the time in the Beat the Club news page where you get people DMing and they go, I had one guy in email going, hey, if you're ever stuck for any DJs in Ibiza, give me a shout. I'd love to fly over. And I was thinking to myself, when are you ever stuck for a DJ in Ibiza? It's never happened in the history of the world. And if I was, you're not going to think, there's this guy that DM'd me 2 years ago. I'll give him a shout. So you want to have a bit of a relationship and a bit of reciprocity before you reach out and try and seal the deal. Okay, so down with that, says Niall. Okay, then the third month, we're all about the bookings. This is where we bring it home. Now, when we've done the connection stuff and you've been kind of reaching out and nurturing your connections with the promoters, and this happens in a short space of time, that's only 1 month, you'll already have some bookings locked in, so some of you. But month 3, we want to bring it home, nail the system down so that you leave with bookings. Here's how we do it. It's a really easy 4-step process that I'm going to run through. The first one is book yourself. Can I ask in the chat, does anybody run their own nights currently under their own brand? Give me a yes if you do. Does anybody want to launch their own brand and would love to run their own nights if it was achievable, if they knew that they could fill the venue and it wasn't going to cost them lots of money? Yeah. And so the reason, Jose used to, he was, yeah, of course. The reason I do this week 1 is because it's going to be so much easier to get a yes from the owners of amazing clubs than it is than the promoters. The promoters have their own agenda. They've got their own clicks. They've got their own queue of artists, and they're getting inundated with pitches. The club owners are more business people. They just want to know, does this make sense? And if you bring them a pitch that makes sense, they'll usually give you a go. And so we have artists that just started like in the last couple of months that are already running. Let's say last week or 2 weeks ago, we had ones running in Egg. All of the artists in the program were playing it, nearly sold out, heaving till 5 o'clock in the morning, and a complete success. Now they've got multiple dates in Egg next year. what we do is we get brands to come in. So you pitch third-party brands to come in, sponsor your event, cover the cost of the whole event. And we use certain strategies to make sure the event gets full so that people are showing up. You're not losing money because the brand's covering it, and you're dealing with a venue that you're proud to have an event in. And what happens then is you've got your own event in a venue that you're proud to be playing in, and you can showcase you. You can put you in the good slots. You can invite people down to play. And so you're building your community and you're building your own thing. And it's such a beautiful thing. If you can lock one of those in regularly, you've immediately got a regular gig under your own name, under your own brand, and you get to keep all the money. And if you've got a brand paying for it, it's going to be nice money. Who would consider that for 2022? If you would consider it, give me a yes in the chat. Anybody that has it in them, I just love this for a DJ. Like, look, if Jamie Jones didn't have Paradise or Hot Creations, how big would he be as big as he is now? And you could say that would Adam Bear be as big without Drumcode? And look, they're at the higher extremes, but quite often the artists that make it, it's because they have a brand that kind of built up with them and kind of dragged them up alongside. You know, there's not too many of the big guys that you can think of that doesn't have a big standalone brand with them. And quite often it's the thing that kind of pushed them up, you know, because you've got a community of other artists and other people on the label and other people that can help you promote the night. And it's a thing that's bigger than you, but it raises you up. And so that's week 1. Week 2, we hop into scripts. Now, really, this week should be called Knowing What to Say. But quite often that's the problem. People just don't know. You know who the promoters are. You've got them in your hit list and you've reached out and you've got that relationship just sitting there. And when I say relationship, this is a short thing. You know, you've broken the ice. Now it's knowing what to say. And so we've got scripts that I give my artists, that a couple of different scenarios, 7 or 8 different scenarios that you can use to reach out and seal the deal. You put them into your own words, but it's ways of just reaching out and getting promoters chatting and giving them stuff that they want, so that they get the mail and they're like, oh, this actually looks good. This person plays the game differently than the other DJs. Yes, I want this. And this is how we've had guys booking amazing gigs because they play the game differently. So week 2 in the second month is the script. The idea is you get the scripts, look at what one you're most comfortable with, write it in your own words, and just start sending it to 3 of your hit list each week. 3 of your hit list each week. And over time, the results, the gigs just start coming in. Week 3 in the last month is follow-up. So important. Can I ask in the chat, who has ever asked a promoter for a booking and either got ghosted or got a no and then never contacted that promoter ever again? Give me a me in the chat if it's you. Okay, we got some. Of course. Yeah. Because what happens is you go, okay, they've said no. They don't want me to play for them. I understand. But it might have been a no for now. Like, you could reach out about an event and they could already have the roster lined up, or they might have no more budget. So they've promised the sets out to somebody, or it's not the right timing, or you're not the right sound for that event. There's loads of reasons why it might be a no. And what happens is, if you just disappear and never contact them again, you proved the promoter right. He was right not to book you. He or she was right not to book you because you just fucked off. If you show up, follow up, and stay in touch, build a relationship, that is how you get bookings. I did the Elro tour in 2019. We did Elro London. We had our own stage at Elro London, Elro Scotland, Elro Belgium, and Elro Netherlands. And we had it booked again for this year? Yes, this year, except it was cancelled again. Now, we first started talking about doing something in 2015, and there was 4 years of not working together and no, this isn't right, that's not right. And it's staying in touch and keeping the relationship going and suggesting new stuff and maybe getting a no on it and trying again, being friendly about it. And finally, in 2019, we did it. And that's the way you need to think about the exact same thing. Michelle said she'd love to play Elro. I had 24 of my guys play Elro in 2019. It was amazing. It's one of the great ones. And it's so good as well because it's guaranteed to be rammed. You know, if you show up and bring the tunes, you're going to have an audience. It's going to be a good day. So, yeah, we're booked in for next year as well. Hopefully COVID doesn't cancel it. We've got a stage at all the Alros in Europe next year. So follow-up is key. And that's why we do the 3x3, because you reach out to 3 new promoters each week and you follow up with 3 each week. So even if you're not doing the program with me, do that. Start trying that. And then finally, the very last week is deal making. Can I ask in the chat, who has ever got a gig and the promoter said, okay, let's do it, and you didn't have a fucking clue what to charge, or even you didn't know how to bring up the topic of money in case you weren't getting paid, or in case you fluffed it for yourself and ruined the gig and you were just so eager for the gig, or maybe, you know, you had to travel and you didn't know how to bring up travel or hotels. You were looking at the prospect of losing money on travels and hotels, and you didn't know how to bring any of that up. That is so common. And so we'll have built our list, we'll have them all in our world, and we'll be reaching out and following up. And so naturally, we'll be converting promoters. And when they come back and say, yes, okay, let's do it, you need to you just say 200 and expenses, say Shane. Do not just say 200 and expenses. If it's a local gig, fine, that's all right. But otherwise, so you want to make sure you're locking the deal down right. You want to make sure that you're asking for what you're worth, but also over delivering on what you're worth. And you also want to make sure that look, they're not going to sign big, long contracts with you at this stage in your career, but you want to make sure you have something small contracted, just so that if you do book a hotel, or you do book a flight, or you do take a day off work to go to the gig and they cancel, that you still get paid the agreed fee and you're not out of pocket, or you get paid maybe not the full fee, but a half fee if you're a new artist, that you're still not out of pocket. And all promoters will be completely fine with that. But you want to make sure you have that locked in. All of that is part of the deal making, locking it in and making sure they're happy, you're happy, you know what you have to deliver, and you have a way of doing it over and over and over again. So once we have all 12 of those pieces and we walk through them, you're going to be in a really good spot. We spent 1 week at the end kind of locking it all together and making sure you have a system so that you don't forget these parts and you keep them up. But there's not really a lot to keep up. We've designed it to be light with not much work each week. Can I ask in the chat, which of the 3 sections speaks to you most? Which do you need most? Content, connections, or bookings? Well, obviously the bookings, but the bookings knowledge. All 3. Connections. Yeah, the connections is such a huge one. And really, if you're not an arsehole and you're polite, then the connections is the really easy one, because we're not in insurance, we're not in banking, we're in dance music, we're in music. So it's a social community. The people at the other end are social people. So if you reach out and you do it in the right way, it's easy to make connections. Okay, perfect. So for the guys that are in the program with me, I'm going to be inviting you to the Facebook group tomorrow where we kick all this off. You're going to be put in with all of the European guys, all of the Australian guys, the people in the States, and we're going to kick this off. We've got a call every single Thursday for the next 14 weeks. You can choose, if you're in the UK, we got one at 7 p.m. this time, and we also got one at 8 a.m., which is the one for the Australians. So you can choose either of 2, but I'll send you all those details. For anybody that wants to join and get on board, as I said, there's nothing for sale here. I'm going to drop you actually have my email. I've been emailing you. So just reply to one of those emails and ask for information. And if you're not going to join, but you would like maybe just a small snippet of free training on how to go deeper and do some of this stuff on your own, then hit me back and ask me for that, because I have some of that I can send you as well. I don't want anybody, I want results for you, whether that's with me or on your own. So hit me back and let me know, and I'll send you over. I've got 3 or 4 in-depth training videos showing you just how to do some of the stuff like find the connections and all that good stuff. What's been most useful today? Before we sign off, I don't want to keep you over the allotted time. What's been most useful for you today? Into the chat. It's been nice to see so many new faces. and some old ones. The triangle. Everybody loves the triangle. A good refresh. Everything, actually. That's good, Michelle. I'm delighted. Great info from somebody who actually works in the business. Thank you, Gabrielle. Putting the structure down on paper and community. Getting a structure down so I know I'll get results by sticking to it. Yes, Billy. And you've been in the other group for a couple of months now. So you've been seeing the results everybody else has been having. All of it. Therefore, a great start. Can I have more info, please? Yes, Niall, can you reply to my email? And I'll give you a shout. Or do you know what I'm going to do as well? I'm going to get my Instagram for anybody that is more. I can hook you up on Instagram as well, either for the free training or for the information to join us. I've sent my Instagram link into the chat there. Feel free to just pop me a DM or whatever as well. Right, guys, it's been a pleasure running through this with you. It's my favorite training, really. Your DJs, you want to play. That's what it's about, really, isn't it? It's getting out there and playing gigs, and it can be elusive sometimes. They don't need to be. Like we discussed with the gym, all it is showing up and doing the things in this triangle on a consistent basis, just a little bit, and you will get results over time. So none from Germany. Oh, we got loads of guys from Germany in the program. Lots of guys from Germany. Guys, I'm going to let you go on that one. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure to see you. Greta, I'm glad it was useful. If you want any of the further training, hit me up and I'll send that over to you as well. Thanks, Darren. I'm looking forward to working with you over the next couple of weeks. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to go and drink 16 cups of tea and go to sleep like a good little Irishman. Thank you very much. I'll see you all later, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Enjoy your evening.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
See ya.
Cheers.
See you, Darren. See you, Niall. See you, Jose. See you, Luke.
See you, man.
Peace. Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you've made it this far, please do me a favor. Like, subscribe so you can get all the future content, and let me know in the comments what you thought of this video. But more importantly, if you're a DJ that wants to get more bookings, if you want to lock in better clubs, better festivals, and more of them, I want to give you the system that we use to do this with DJs. I want to give you the full blueprint, all the training to run you through it, and any of the tools and templates that you need. There's a link in the description down below where you can go and get it now for free. Go help yourself. Let me help you. Let's get you booked together. The link is below. Did I mention like and subscribe? Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.